Hi lovelies, karibu sana to my YouTube channel. My name is Glynis. Thank you so much for joining us if you're new here. If you're a returning viewer, asante sana. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about something called oral exams. Yes, the dreadful oral exams at the Kenya School of Law. I don't even know where to start because of how magnanimous of a topic this is. So let's get into it. First things first, what are oral exams? So as I explained before, the Kenyan system works where you undertake your Bachelor of Laws degree, you become a lawyer, and then you need to go to the Kenya School of Law where you undertake your postgraduate diploma. Now your postgraduate diploma helps you become an advocate, and as an advocate you can speak in court. In other jurisdictions, this is basically what would be your bar exam, only you have to take 9 months to study so that you could take your bar exam. So I've explained all this in the watch this before you join law school video. I will link it up here for anyone who hasn't watched it. But today I'm specifically talking about oral exams. At the Kenya School of Law, you undertake 3 exams. 2 exams are set by the school, 1 exam is set by the Council of Legal Education. And the first 2 are fast. There is something called project work, which accounts to 20 out of the 100 marks that you could possibly get in the exams. And project work is basically where a group of students, a random group of students in your class, you're put together in a group, and these groups are called farms. Now those farms are what you will use class presentations, and the same class presentations will be contributing towards your final score in the project work. Or for some lecturers, you simply undertake the project work and then they mark it out of 20 and you get your final score. So that's the first thing that you will do that will contribute to your final grade. The second thing that you will do, which is what we're talking about today, is the oral exams. Now guys, I started hearing about oral exams when I was still doing my undergrad, and I would still hear about the mental anguish that oral exams would cause. But I needed to go through it to understand how even the people who explained it to me didn't do it justice. Because it's a lot, you guys, it's a lot. And specifically for our year, because as I've said, project work is the first exam you do. Usually it's in first term. Oral exams usually in second term, and then after third term, your bar exams. Now, us because we're at the Kenya School of Law during the COVID pandemic, and it took a huge chunk of our first term and the whole of our second term, we submitted our project work and did our oral exams the duration of the same month, that is November to December, because project work was being submitted from the 17th of November and orals are going all the way to the 18th of December. So you're dealing with a situation where as soon as you've submitted your orals, as soon as the next week, you could be going to present on your oral exams. So that's first of all nerve-wracking, because project work is a whole thing. You're dealing with people, you're trying to do your assignment and to submit it in good time, and then the next thing you're thinking about is something called orals. Now, why are oral exams such a huge deal? Because you stand before a panel for 10 minutes and they can ask you any question in law, meaning anything you have studied from your first year in school until the last class you had before undertaking your oral exams. Aside from that, they could also ask you questions with regard to current affairs. So right now, if as the BBI is ongoing and it's a huge constitutional debate, you could be asked about it. As people are trying to undertake private prosecutions, you could be asked what is used in determining whether a private prosecution can be executed in this country. So you can imagine 4 years of your bachelor's together with the 6 months that you have been in school at the Kenya School of Law. The worst part is the exam is not the worst thing. The preparation to the exam is what is nerve-wracking, because you're reading from first year to 4th year, you're reading everything you've done at the Kenya School of Law. Let me tell you, this is a true story. Before your orals, there will appear PDFs that are worthy of hundreds of pages. There's one called Coech. You will see it if you haven't taken your orals. The document is, I think, 300 pages worth of oral questions that have been asked before. And you need to read your notes, you need to read past questions to revise, you need to be in the frame of mind to practice, to be confident. You know, in last week's video we were talking about how to note like a pro. Some of those tips basically come in handy as you're making your oral exams. Now imagine you're doing all that preparation, all that reading for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I mean, it's so nerve-wracking. I can understand why you feel like your brain is gonna explode. So this is just for anyone who is at law school. Please, and I tweeted about this, keep your undergraduate notes. Keep them. You will need them when you're preparing for orals, because at that time you get so many notes that are coming up, and it's way easier to read notes that you're familiar with. It'll help you remember them. Most of those notes you've already highlighted, you've already looked at areas that you have key points that will help you remember issues. So just keep your undergrad notes. Your handwritten notes, write them properly. Write them in hardcover books that will survive. So when you're reading, you don't have to start from scratch. You can just go look at your previous book, look at questions of, who knows, interpretation of statutes, the mischief rule, the golden rule, justem generis. You know, some of these things that you have forgotten all the way from first year, they become very relevant when you're preparing for orals. And just try and have study groups. Study groups are good because they're very repetitive, and if you meet as often as possible, then it means you can be in a position to discuss issues and to further your understanding. You guys, orals, the mental anguish is something I have never experienced in my life. You stand there and you can feel the world shaking beneath your feet. But the most important thing, again, be confident. Where you don't know how to answer a question, you can pass the question. Where you know or you have an idea of a question, just attempt it. I won't even talk much about how the whole questioning process goes, but you just need to know you appear before a panel of 2 who are probably lecturers you've experienced or not experienced, and they'll ask you questions from anywhere. And I can't even say that there's any formula. You just pray, and you tell your friends to pray for you and your parents to pray for you, and you read. There is no shortcut. You just read. Don't leave anything to chance. Most of my friends told me that the questions that they were asked were questions that they had seen. So the most important thing is to also recollect what you've read. So it's very important to come up with a study guide, a time frame in which you'll read various topics, have your course outlines, and just give it your best. But this is for anyone at undergrad. Please remember, there's something at the Kenya School of Law called oral exams, and start thinking about it today. So understand those concepts, keep those notes. Also, as you write your notes at the Kenya School of Law, lecturers usually say, this is an oral question. At your notes, just write, this is an oral question. Try and participate in class. Lecturers, if they remember you, they'll ask you a question that you mentioned in class. And basically, put your best foot forward. The thing about the law is just read. If people have made it before us, we will also make it. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this far. In case you're not subscribed to this channel and you like to know more about law school, I talk about law school and so much more. So please make sure you're subscribed and you turn on the notification bell not to miss on any new video I post. Bye.